welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. I apologize for the hiatus. I wasn't intending to have such a long hiatus, and there was always stuff to talk about with the Minnesota Vikings, and believe me, this show needs the love in the summertime a little more than it gets, and I deeply apologize for that. So, haven't recorded a show or published a show anyway since May 30th upon the hiring of Nolan Teasley. So, it is the classic Tying Up Loose Ends episode. So, this will be Tying Up Loose Ends 2026. In an unconventional time and way of recording it, the Minnesota Vikings' first preseason game is live and on the air as I'm recording this early in the first quarter here. J.J. McCarthy has taken over after an okay drive by Kyler Murray, who has been named the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll get my thoughts on that and hear some of yours as well later on in the episode. Yep, well, the Facebook page, again, I just can't get to it anymore. I'm kind of giving up on my Facebook account, my original account. I don't really want to keep creating stuff over and over and over again, though. Maybe I will. I don't know. It's just sad because I can't get in my original Facebook account. So, like Timberwolves Explosion, Brave the Wild, all the other stuff. Yeah, it's like all linked together. So it's kind of screwed on the Facebook side, but there's always Twitter, there's Instagram. So appreciate if you want to interact on there. Unfortunately, the interaction hasn't been also huge, though some of you that have, and I really appreciate you oh so very much. Again, first quarter, Minnesota Vikings versus the New York Giants. Looks like a pretty day. As it's not so pretty here, that's why I figured let's record. Maybe it's going to dry up a bit, and then I can hit the lake or pool or whatever after the show. As to when this is published, it might be more in the evening. So you might be like, okay, are you recording it that early and how it's published? Yeah, it could end up that way. So my apologies if I'm like publishing this show actually later. If you're like, what the heck, it's already 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Now you're publishing the show? Yeah. So my apologies for that. And again, apologies for the hiatus. It's like not doing lawns anymore, he said. Recording more episodes, he told us. It's like, yeah, I know. And I apologize. I really do. You just get tied up with things. And of course, the other job is just kind of demanding and such, and demanding of my time in such a time as well. So my apologies. I did record more for a while, and we'll probably be better about that in the long-term future, one way or another. So let's get caught up with things, then we'll talk about Kyler Murray and such. This should be a 2-segment show. 2 segments. Preseason games, yes, it's about evaluation. It's not about like necessarily winning the games. It's about getting out of there healthy. That's obviously a big thing. But let's get caught up as to what happened in the Minnesota Vikings front office upon the hiring of Mr. Nolan Teasley. Again, a lot of us very happy about the hiring. I don't think anybody's really complaining about that one. So people on their way out, because you tend to clean house a bit. Demetrius Washington, he was assistant manager, departed to seek other opportunities. Jamal Stevenson, senior personnel executive, longtime staffer since 2002. Holy crap. So going way back to the Mike Tice, the beginning of the Mike Tice era. That's a long time. Pat Roberts, I don't think he's a pastor or anything like that. I'm just kidding. Pat Roberts, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Assistant director of college scouting, again, on their way out. Sully, not Saul Lefkowitz. I know, that's some KFAN like bit years ago. Sully Clavel, he was a pro scout, and Ryan Grigson. A lot of people kind of dumping on him a bit because he wasn't a very good general manager, wasn't very successful with the Indianapolis Colts years ago, and a lot of people thinking, oh, him leaving is a good thing. So it is what it is. Former assistant GM who declined a new reshuffled role and left. So he was like, nah, bleep that, I'm out. So he's moved on to a different opportunity. Additions: Andrew Healy, hired as assistant general manager, bringing strong analytics background from the Cleveland Browns. Okay, yep, a lot of people are pretty happy about that one. Pretty people happy about a lot of these, honestly. Trent Kirchner, hired also as another assistant general manager, bringing extensive scouting and evaluation experience from the Seahawks. So, yep, bringing him from the Seahawks. You tend to do that when you come from an organization. You bring some of your people with. Ryan Pace, he has been hired, general manager of the Bears, fired at the same time as a guy by the name of Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer. So after 2001. So that's when the other guy was brought in Chicago. So Ryan Pace, everyone like, wait a minute, Ryan Pace. Yeah, Ryan Pace, hired as a senior football advisor, former Chicago Bears general manager. Azam Capedia, hired as assistant director of pro scouting, so he's replacing the college person, previously a scout with the Seahawks. Cool. Nice additions. So additions and subtractions, that's kind of how that goes. Dang gummit, I forgot to do a better job about that, but it is what it is. My apologies there. Okay, I think we're done with the potential noise in the background for the most part, but Nolan Teasley, kind of restructuring the front office, and that's kind of what's been going on since then. Transactions since the end of May, basically. Michael Briscoe signed. These are people coming in for the, trying out and such. Trayvon Rudolph, both of these guys are wide receivers. Joaquin Davis, wide receiver. Marshall Lang. Oh, no. Joaquin Davis was released, so unfortunately with that one. Marshall Lang, a tight end, was brought in. Jahavari Ritzi, defensive line, signed. Waived was Caleb Etienne. Monkel, good wine, waived. Caleb Etienne and Montel Goodwine were waived in June. Jamal Adams, big one here recently, right before my birthday. A guy who was a star with the Seahawks years ago, so that's where the familiarity comes in, was with the Las Vegas Raiders recently. He was injured years ago, unfortunately. So yes, this is a fairly significant addition. We're going to jump into him for a minute here. He's been an all-pro, first-team all-pro safety. He started his career with the Jets back in 2017. Played 3 years there. Played 4 years with the Seahawks. Unfortunately, his third year with the Seahawks. He would miss some games. It seemed like a bit after being like an Iron Man his first 2 years in the league with the Jets. Then he would miss a few games a year with the Seahawks, but he was an all-pro safety. 9.5 sacks, 9.5 freaking sacks in 2020. An all-pro, first-team all-pro. That's like the best safety in the league, basically, right? Yeah, for at least a little while with the Seahawks years ago. Outstanding player. Unfortunately, in 2022, he played a game. Massive injuries. I believe a very nasty hip injury years ago, and like quad and such, that kind of thing. Lower body injuries, as they'd say in the hockey world. Kind of off and on, oft injured, missing a bunch of time and such. Only 9 games the next year with the Seahawks in 23. 2 games with the Detroit Lions, 2 and 3 with the Tennessee Titans, both in 2024. And with the Las Vegas Raiders, played the whole season in a linebacker role. Played the whole season, though, so good for him. But kind of like a starter, second stringer kind of a guy. That's kind of what his role is now. He's kind of like in the middle there. One of those kind of guys. Like probably good enough to be in the on your team the whole year and everything, yes, but not going to necessarily blow you away like, holy crap, what a star. But he's solid. 45 total tackles, 1 single sack. 5 tackles for loss, though, with the I keep calling him Oakland. That's still going to be stuck in my mind for the rest of my life, I think. But the Las Vegas Raiders, 30 of those tackles were solo. Playing a linebacker role, kind of putting on some size and such over the course of his career. He's number 32 with the Vikings at the moment. He's considered a linebacker. 6'1", 213. That sounds more like a safety's body, but he's played a linebacker role possibly for some of that, just his general tackling ability, a strong safety type of guy. He was a first-round pick and number 6 overall for the Jets, and hell of a career for a while there until major injuries taking place, a quad type of thing, nasty type of stuff. Early one of those years with the Seahawks. So unfortunately, like his third year with the Seahawks. Kelly Lawson waived. That was the same day. So unfortunately, Kelly Lawson ended up getting pushed out the door to bring in Jamal Adams. You know how that works, and it kind of sucks for them. It does. Luke Wissong waived on July 28th, wide receiver. Kajan Owens, running back, reserved non-football injury. So that's an interesting one. So he's placed on that. Jordan Mims was brought in on July 28th. So a lot of work there on July 28th. Gerard Washington. Yes, so a Washington cornerback, just like Dwayne Washington many years ago in the early 90s in the Warren Moon era. But anyhow, August 2nd brought in as a cornerback. Kajan Owens, waived on August 2nd. Jamar, so that was the same running back. Jermar Jefferson brought in to kind of compete and such. And Jordan Mims brought in. No, waived. Jordan Mims then waived. He's brought in and then waived. It's just like, what a life. Feel bad for those guys. Kind of that, hey, okay, well, nope, you're gone. It's just like, that kind of sucks. So feel for those guys. But that's how that goes. So tying up some loose ends here with the front office, and you know how you bring players in and let them go and bring this guy in and let this one go, and it's kind of shuffling the deck a little bit. So no major cuts, obviously, yet. It's just like one preseason games so far. It's not like the big cuts. Those are coming up, and yes, a lot of those guys probably figure at least get some notoriety. Maybe can wind up on a practice squad with another team or this team, and maybe play some of that other stuff, that XFL type of stuff, and then maybe carve out a career later. There's that. A lot of people are talking about how J.J. McCarthy might carve out a career as a starter at some point later on, like some of these guys out there. And like, kind of like Sam Darnold, how he was like, okay, he's the future for the Jets, and then he threw 1 billion interceptions, and then it's like, no, he's not the future for the Jets, even though they've, been trying to get a starting quarterback there since, I don't know, like Vinny Testaverde, basically. An aging Vinny Testaverde, but he was pretty good when he was there. What the heck? Jeez. That's what I get for leaving a plastic bottle in the freezer. Yeah, it starts, settling, I guess. That's what they mean by settling. Just stuff going, pop. It's fun. It's settling. Well, hopefully the Vikings aren't settling at the starting quarterback. Oh, wait, yes, they are. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, I think they're settling at the starting quarterback position. But it is what it is. I don't think they brought in Kyler Murray to be a backup, and I think everybody knew it. Bedford, Texas's own, who played for Oklahoma. Kyler Murray at 5'9", 5'10", whatever the hell they call it, 29 years of age, 8 years in the league. Kyler Murray, number 1, is your starting quarterback. Yeah, I'm not like, yes! No, not really. Carson Wentz is still on the roster, of course. Yep, but he was brought in, and they're not going to, obviously he's going to be on the Vikings one way or another. Max Brosmer and John Wolford are still around. The Wolf are still, those guys are still around. Wolford actually started a playoff game for the Rams because it was, what's his name's last year there, Jared Goff. Years ago before the trade with Detroit and getting Matthew Stafford, holy cow, and then they won the Super Bowl that next year. Goff had some kind of a thumb injury coming into that game, so they're, okay, we're starting Wolford, and if we'll see how it goes. And then Wolford, right away, had a concussion. His head went into somebody's knee, basically, and he was walked off the field with a concussion, and in went Goff, and they actually won a single playoff game, but then it was like, okay, we need to, if we're going to win a championship here in Los Angeles, we got to bring in someone else, and that ended up being that Matthew Stafford. So there was that story. So yeah, Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy, kind of a ominous, whatever they call that, dark, cold, icy relationship type of thing. I'm just here competing for the job. No, we're not really that close. We're just competing for the job. We're both competitors. Anything else? No. I'm just kind of annoyed that I don't get as many snaps as a starter should. That was kind of like back and forth type of stuff. Fun. Well, Kyler Murray's the starter. My thoughts of Kyler Murray being the starter. Okay, so anyhow, we'll kind of pull up his file here. His file. Yep, it's a file, That's how we talk in the business, with, logistics and, isn't that fascinating when people talk like that in meetings? They just feel so smart and so good for themselves. Yeah, I know. We've all listened to that and rolled our eyes, metaphorically. Okay, well, I'm rolling my eyes metaphorically. Kyler Murray, the last season he played the whole year, he threw 21 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, 3,800 yards, 3,800 yards, 3,851. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. He was sacked 30 times as well. You notice I'm not talking really pumped up. Yeah, it's it's okay. I'm kind of sounding like J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, it's okay that he's here, I guess. We're both competitors. Yeah. Rushing numbers in his last season with last full season with the Arizona Cardinals. Excuse me, he only played 5 games last year. And then a guy by the name of Jacoby Brissett came in, and I thought he was pretty good. 572 yards on the ground. That's pretty good. Okay, so I'll give him credit there. 5 touchdowns. He did run for 11 back in 2020. 11 touchdowns. I think that was his best year in the league. 819, and he looked awfully good against the Vikings all those years ago. Definitely totally different regime there. He almost got to the 4,000 mark, but never has reached 4,000 yards in a season. 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's when he kind of looked like a number 1 pick in the league that year, developing into something. And then it's just right after that, it's just, he never took that next step, he never took that next step. And then he started being kind of oft injured and such. And then his leadership was often questioned. It's like, does he care about the team, or is he more into just kind of himself, kind of video games and doing his own thing? Welcome to the real world, I suppose, in a lot of ways. A lot of us at times, we might not be the most social thing in the world. Some of you are, some of you are not. I wouldn't call myself the most social person in the world either. Not that this is about me or anything, but just saying, in comparison, yeah, some of us may think that way, but I don't know. To be a starting quarterback of a franchise, especially a number one overall pick, like a potential franchise guy, and I don't know, it's not really a match. And looks like the Vikings are giving up by 3rd and 23 because they couldn't make some tackles. That was terrific. Huge gain there by old 26 there for the New York Giants. That was a screen kind of play. Nobody was even near him. Jiminy Cricket. Nobody's even near him. And then it's like, yeah, block here and missed tackle there, and off he goes in the races, to the races. Terrific. So, yes, I'll be distracted with the actual real preseason game here. It's great. Love that. Just great. Yep, Giants might score their first point here, take the lead with the Jim Harbaugh era. Very beginning of the second quarter. But no, back to Kyler Murray. Yep. I did go over his numbers episodes ago when we signed him and such. Can I say this? He hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? And people are all like, oh, yes, there he goes. Yep, there it goes. The Vikings are going to go all the way or whatever the heck, or it's going to be a great season. He hasn't done anything. That's kind of how I look at Kyler Murray. People that are like, and they're creating these AI videos and think it's so funny where Kyler Murray's telling off JJ McCarthy. Yeah, you're going to wash my dishes, bitch, or whatever, just going off on on JJ McCarthy. It's kind of sad. It's not that funny, first of all. Yes, and having him run it, having this little 2-foot person running around wearing in these AI videos, that's not real funny either. It's like, we get it. He's shorter. That's great. Whatever. But so the short jokes, we're gonna put that to the side. I don't care what his height is. I care what his results are, and his results are, he had some good seasons many years ago when he was just starting in the league. 2020 is a long time ago. And I was very intrigued by him that year. Okay, yeah, he does look like a number one overall pick. And I do believe he beat the Vikings in a game that year, or at least gave us a hell of a time. I remember he gave us a hell of a time in that game. He was outstanding because he looked like a really nice quarterback in the NFL for many years to come. And since then, he never took that next step. In fact, he just took steps back. It was the 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. When they got to the oft-injured seasons and just the meh numbers. 2024, that was when I made my return to fantasy football, right? And and I usually just do the auto draft because I'm not into sitting around watching people draft players for hours and hours on end, and everyone thinks they're the coolest, smartest person in the world. I'll pass. I'll just do the auto draft and then make the interesting. I'll put people where I hope I would like to get and such, and then the computer auto drafted Kyler Murray, and my reaction was about the same as when the Vikings signed Kyler Murray. It was like, oh, that's the starter? Okay. All right, I guess we'll see what happens. And by the end of the year, was Kyler Murray starting? No, he was a backup. And that's how I look at him as a fantasy player as well. If you think I'm going to come in here and go, woohoo, Kyler Murray's great, and I'm so excited the Vikings are going to go 13-4, now that we play 17 games, as weird as it is, I'm still stuck on 16. I want to say 13-3. I really want to say 13-3. It sounds better. 13-4 just doesn't sound right to me. What's the point? 17 is a weird number. 16 was just embedded in us forever. Why change it? I don't know. But Kyler Murray, as the starter of the Minnesota Vikings, he hasn't done anything to me for me to get excited. And throughout the entire preseason and such, he didn't blow anybody out of the water. Just, he's okay. But it sounded like McCarthy had to be amazing, completely dominate, to completely dominate the quarterback battle to win the job. So that's kind of sad. The only good part is, hopefully, McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings can stick around here. And if the Vikings go on to win 10 games or something this year and either make the playoffs and lose in the first round again or not make the playoffs, by a narrow margin, kind of similar to last year, then maybe, hopefully, McCarthy can come back next year closer to being a star, to being like a long-term solution, or the Minnesota Vikings could re-enter the draft, so to speak, looking for a quarterback of the future again, because that's kind of where I'm guessing things are going to go one way or another, unless McCarthy does finally get that fire lit under him, because he wasn't all that spectacular either. That's the unfortunate part. I was hoping McCarthy was going to take that next major step, because what's better for the Minnesota Vikings franchise? What's better? To me, it's obvious. McCarthy takes the big step forward, and he's the quarterback of the future. Kyler Murray's 29. He hasn't done a damn thing, really, for anybody to be like, wow. He hasn't. He hasn't done a damn thing. He had one really good year in 2020. But even that year, it wasn't like he was, he wasn't like one of the best players on the planet. He was pretty good, though. He was promising. His quarterback rating was 94.3 that year. 94.3. Does that blow you away, or is that just like, he's good? Yeah, it was more like he's good, His highest quarterback rating was in 2021. Missed a couple games, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So, I mean, it's not like he's an interception machine. So that's good. Some people would think McCarthy is, but I think there's more gamesmanship to McCarthy than there ever has been with, damn, I thought it was, no wonder I was sweating in here. The stupid thing wasn't even on. McCarthy has an it factor that I don't really see in Kyler Murray. McCarthy is somebody that wants to win games, like you can see it in him. Unfortunately, the results at times, particularly early on, were not so great. They got better a bit, but again, a lot of people will tell you because the pressure was off. Well, yeah, kind of was. But it also helped that the bleeping coach, kind of took some of the pressure off a little bit with some of the coaching schemes rather than expecting Kyler Murray I keep calling him Kyler Murray now, J.J. McCarthy to be Matthew Stafford level or beyond, Patrick Mahomes or something. Let's throw the ball X amount of times. It's all about the quarterback throw, rather than mixing things up a bit, balancing things out, and, setting McCarthy up for success rather than kind of semi like, the sink or swim, you little whippersnapper, kind of like that. That's BS. I thought that was a BS way to handle the situation with J.J. McCarthy, and I do think Kevin O'Connell lost some points last year. I really did, with a lot of us. He lost points with the host of Purple Mafia, let me tell you. Say what you want about me. If they think I'm full of crap, well, that's your opinion, and you have a right to it. But he lost points with me last year, did Kevin O'Connell, with the way he handled the McCarthy situation. Luckily, McCarthy has stated numerous times he's sticking with us. He wants to stick with the organization. He wants to be with the Vikings. He's happy to be here. He loves the state of Minnesota. Well, I might not agree with that too much, but I'll leave the reasonings of that behind the scenes. Some of you already know, probably, or can read between the lines what I don't like that much about this state. But digressing back to the Vikings, well, there are things to like about Minnesota, sure, and of the organization, of course, and yes, the fan base. The fan base is extremely loyal to the players. So Minnesota Viking fans that go to games, watch games, love this team, regardless of your opinions on outside stuff. God bless you. God bless you. I'm with you. Of course, I want this team to succeed. Of course, I'd be cheering and all that good stuff. I'm not going to be wearing face paint. I'm not going to worship the team. I'm not going to worship certain players. I'm not going to think every player on the team is, like a god or something. No, they're really not. We're all people. They just have a little more talent. That's all. They just have more talent in the athletic zone, that type of thing. Maybe I'm better with stocks or common sense or something. I don't know than some of them, or I'm more of I'm better at podcasting. I don't know. Some of you might think I'm the worst podcaster in the world, but again, that's your choice. McCarthy, though, hoping for him. Yes, hoping for him that he will continue to develop. And I'm liking what I'm seeing at the moment here, as he's been kind of guiding the Vikings down the field a bit, moving around, doing some bootlegs and some rollouts and such. The accuracy's there. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing right now with McCarthy at quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings out here versus the Giants. Yes, it's a preseason game. It's the early second quarter, though. And the penalty just was on the Bears. The Vikings did have a nice gain. It's like multiple penalties, face mask and a hold on the Giants. So, all right. On the New York Nephilim Giants. There's definitely a hold there. What's going on? So, yep, there was a hold, but it was a good throw. Nice throw. Nice calmness in the pocket there by McCarthy. There was all kinds of pressure coming his way, and he just kind of stood his ground. He made the little slight maneuver to get away from the pressure, but they could have pulled him down. Nice accuracy, too. That was good. I know it's one play, but it was good stuff. So, sorry, I know you're not seeing it at the moment I'm talking, but maybe you did watch the game and such. So, just mentioning, hopefully, hopefully. And again, people talk about, I mean, you'll hear this a million times, how Kyler Murray can't stay healthy anyway, so McCarthy might end up playing more games than Murray at the end of the day. Am I rooting against Kyler Murray? No, not necessarily. And Kyler Murray apparently was a Minnesota Vikings fan growing up. We did talk about that on the last show. I don't hate Kyler Murray. I'm just telling you what I know, and opinions and such. Like, he hasn't done anything, damn it, other than some, a couple of good seasons that didn't really amount to a whole lot at the end of the day. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. See, it's like some people could be thinking like he either has some spectacular year and then he ends up signing with the Dolphins or something, the Miami Dolphins, something like that, to hopefully help lead that franchise out of the, frustration they've been in for way too long. Tua didn't look all too great with the Falcons either, by the way. So Tua, who was kind of a dork, basically, with the Dolphins for the last X amount of years. Definitely an arch nemesis of a guy by the name of Brian Flores. McCarthy, what happened there? I don't know. They're saying it was a push. I think they're calling it on the Giants, and he's complaining like the receiver pushed off. Interesting. Sorry, that was kind of one of those weird broken plays where the ball was sailing and there's no one there kind of thing, but apparently there was some contact, and the refs called it against the Giants. Yeah, that's a hold. Yep, he grabbed the pads there a bit and just kind of held the guy Jones there, the receiver. Interesting. But anyhow, yes, I like what I'm seeing out of McCarthy, and I do think there is a future with J.J. McCarthy in the National Football League as a starting quarterback. Will it be here? I hope so. I know a lot of people, it's not a popular opinion of McCarthy being the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings long term, but I'm hoping that can happen. I'm hoping he will be successful here because he's a gamer. He's an absolute gamer, and he's one of those guys that can do special things in big moments. That's what I see out of J.J. McCarthy, that he's clutch. So I'm seeing that penalty after penalty. It's definitely the preseason where teams got to clean things up. Lots of contact from the Giants, and they're calling it on him again, and their hands are raised like, what the bleep kind of call is that? And you know how that is. Like, you know how it is. Whenever a call's made on you, you want to defend yourself, and that's kind of what's going on. So I don't want to be too distracted and kind of give you play-by-plays here. But, that was against the Vikings this time. Or was it an offset? Nope, it was on us. Vikings get a hold, unfortunately, in this one. But anyhow, wishing McCarthy success going forward. Sorry, now I'm just doing a terrible job here with that, babbling way too much. But yes, those are your Viking quarterbacks. Running backs are, well, obviously Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. Who's going to get the majority of carries? Who knows? Probably Jordan Mason. Lots of hope with the Desmond Claiborne, 22 years of age, coming in out of Wake Forest. He'll be wearing number 21 for the Vikings. A late round pick. 6th rounder, but a lot of hope in this one. A lot of people think this guy could be something. He's definitely got that third year to him. So people are very excited about him. Xavier Scott with some power and such. Big guy going through there. 27 years of age as well already. Wide receivers, of course, you got Justin Jefferson, franchise receiver on this team. Jordan Addison, who's a guy who could be a number one receiver on some other team, but hopefully he'll stick around here and Vikings will keep him. Love his explosiveness. Huge fan of him in that draft. And when the Vikings took him, I was very excited. Very excited getting Jordan Addison in 2023 years ago. If you want to listen back to, that's who actually I endorsed going into that one. Not that it's about me, of course, because it's not. A lot of people think Ty Felton could make a nice jump from last year to this year. Ty Felton, hopefully. Last year he didn't do a whole lot. And a lot of people saw him as another one of those weak picks, or from a guy by the name of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Apologize. Need to wet the whistle here. Juwan Jennings, again, looked on as pretty much the best blocking receiver in the league, coming in from San Francisco, 29 years of age. Played for Tennessee and grew up in Tennessee as well. So Tennessee, yo, what up, Tennessee, you could say, as a guy by the name of Randy Moss would say. Number 14, Juwan Jennings. Would love to, looking forward to his future here with the Minnesota Vikings, short-term or whatever, short-term or long-term, if he is signed at the end of the year. It's a one-year deal for him, but an exciting addition to the Minnesota Vikings, of course, in the offseason. Talk is that Blake Cashman, who's flashing on the screen right now, when they grab they grab the pads around their neck and such. You got to hang on to that tie. That was a catch. That was a nice throw. It wasn't perfect, but it was a catchable throw, very much so, was right in the breadbasket as he was kind of going down on the ground and catching the ball for like a 22-yard gain, and the ball came out. Oh, Ty, you got to catch that. Fudge knuckin'. Now it's 3rd and 20 rather than 2nd and 20. Dang. Kind of sucks. Price made a nice catch in this one as well, like him. Miles Price, number 4. Guy who's only 24 years of age, and he was a really good punt returner last year. So a lot of people are big fans of his. Joshua Jones, people like him a bit. 26 years of age. He's played only 1 year in the league. He's one of those kind of fringe guys and such. Other names. Terrell Davis. He's wearing number 40 and he's a wide receiver. How about that? So usually those guys, unfortunately, have a hell of a time making it. Dylan Bell, Michael Briscoe. Yeah, those are other receivers. Dante Fleming, a year in the league from Louisiana. Played for Tulane. Good for him. Yeah, Shalik Nuts. No number at all at the moment. Yep, Trevion Rudolph. Okay, Marcus Sanders. Yeah, Luke Wysong, questionable. Tight ends, Gavin Bartholomew. Some people think he may or may not make the team. We'll see what happens. He was a draft pick a couple of years ago. Didn't do a whole lot so far in his career. TJ Hawkinson, is he in his final year with the team? Who knows? But he loves it here enough. He restructured his contract. So, yeah, appreciate TJ Hawkinson. We'll see what happens. But sometimes they call that kicking the can down the road, where eventually then it wind up getting cut anyway later because of that. Josh Oliver, one of the best blockers. Arguably the best blocker on the team, most likely. Other tight end and such. Marshall Lang, Bryson Nisbet. Yeah, we'll see if any of them make it. But Oliver and Hawkinson are locks, I would have to think. Blake Brandel's looked on as a starting center at the moment. Christian Darrisaw is looking a lot healthier, so really exciting there. He was kind of going back and forth with, he just wasn't fully healthy all year last year. Still recovering from the ACL, MCL, like devastating injury. In Los Angeles in the 2024 season. Huge loss for the Vikings at the time. Luckily, we were able to make a nice free agent signing to kind of keep the season going until, we went back to Los Angeles in the postseason and things ended abruptly, terribly. But anyhow, Christian Darrisaw looking healthier than he has in a while. So since pre-injury. So very exciting there to see Christian Darrisaw recovering. Franchise left tackle, let me tell you. Finally, the Vikings got their left tackle, and it was really exciting. He slipped a bit in the draft because he was actually hurt at the time, but then he's been healthy, and then that devastating injury. Will Fries was recovering from a broken leg the year before and had a mediocre season. Looked like a fairly disappointing signing at the time. Again, Blake Brown looking as the main starter. Will Fries, a guard, of course, along the way. I believe that'd be right guard. Joe Huber can play guard and center a bit. Donovan Jackson, nice rookie, nice rookie signing, draft pick anyway by the Minnesota Vikings. Donovan Jackson looked like a positive guard signing. I keep calling him signing, draft pick, to actually help fill that role. Unlike the previous attempts, previous attempts to fill that same role at the right guard. Pardon me. So whereas Will Fries left. Michael Juergens can be a backup center or a guard. 26 years of age, good for him. Otherwise, you have guys like Vershawn Lay, Gavin Gerhardt. I'm not sure what to say there. Gerhardt he was a 7th round pick. So he's kind of, dark horse, but we'll see. He's a center. We'll see what happens. And no, he's not related to the Toby Gerhardt years ago. Delby Lemieux, and it's spelled just like Super Mario Lemieux. Kind of cool, offensive line. Spelled exactly like Mario Lemieux, as Lemieux can be a different spelling sometimes. Yep. So cool there. Brian O'Neill, of course, signing an extension recently, so that was exciting. Of course, that took place. 3-year extension. So happy to have him in the fold for a longer term here. The right tackle for the Minnesota Vikings at age 30, one of the captains. Walter Rouse, hard to say if he's going to make it. Guys like Caleb Tiernan, Thomas Rimac, Ryan Van Denmark, interesting name there, 4 years in the league, coming in out of UConn and such. We'll see what happens with Ryan Van Denmark, one of those cool 3 names type of thing, undrafted guy years ago. Caleb Banks, of course, the star. Now as we head to the defensive side, Caleb Banks, of course, the obviously helping number 95. They're hoping for a healthy foot and such, and other health in general. 327. one of those guys. Like, yes, if he's healthy, he's a wonderful draft pick. Otherwise, if he's oft injured, he's it is what it is. He's one of those what could have been type of things. You're hoping he can wind up being more of the star player versus than Mr. What could have been, because we've had too many what could have beens in Minnesota, way too many. And I think that's been a frustration. Monkel Goodwin, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Tyron Ingram Dawkins looked really good last year, wonderful. We've all been happy there. Eric Johnson, the second from Detroit, looks like. So, yeah, Plainfield, Illinois. Yep, he was a fifth-round pick by the Colts. That's not Detroit. I apologize. It's the Colts. Played with the Patriots a bit. He's had some moments. Like a reserve kind of guy, but he's been in the league. So, Eric Johnson, the second. Isaiah Loudermilk. A lot of people think he'll make the team more than likely. Kind of a nose tackle type of guy. 6'7". Whew. Yeah, big dude, 6'7", 300. Where's number 69? Played with the Pirates. No, I'm just kidding. The Pittsburgh Steelers, X amount of years. Reserve role, and you're not going to get a million tackles and such. It's kind of one of those guys that goes in and pushes, basically, and puts pressure, generally speaking, the running back and the quarterback and such to kind of... He's just one of those kind of guys. He's not going to blow you away, but can possibly be something. Dominic Orange, a lot of people are excited about him. Only 22 years of age, of course, draft pick. We're all very happy to have the big citrus in the fold. 6'2", 322. Again, yeah, one of those run stuffer kind of guys. Big citrus, really excited with his future with the Vikings. My third rounder, Jalen Redmond. A lot of people love having him here. He's only 27 still. So still a number of years in the league for him. Redmond getting the 6 sacks last season. Looks wonderful. If he can stay healthy, valuable piece for the Vikings going forward. Javari Ritchie putting on the Ritz. He's putting on the Rich. Javari Ritchie, a year in the league, coming out of North Carolina. Levi Drake Rodriguez, people love him. Yeah, wonderful. Been in the league a couple of years now, and was one of those late round picks that ended up turning into something. Taki Tayamani. You can imagine where he might be from. You'd think Hawaii, right? He's got Hawaii origins, and he probably does. Taki Tayamani, but from Salt Lake City, apparently, interestingly enough. But you know how people have, if that's not Hawaiian, I don't know what is. nice kind of a reserve piece for us. Smith Vilbert and Elijah Williams. See how Elijah Williams does. He's had a couple of years in the league. Jamal Adams, we talked about him earlier. As we switched to the linebacker area, Tyler Batty, Jordan Botelho, Blake Catchman, of course, as valuable as it gets, coming out of the University of Minnesota from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Yes, sir, it's one of us. Blake Catchman, again, having the best training camp of his life, apparently, or at least with the Vikings last few years. People, very encouraged. And again, if the guy stays healthy, he's as valuable as it gets. He gets 1 billion tackles. They have him mic'd up right now, but I don't have the sound on. So adorable. He's been mic'd up for an extended period here. The Giants do lead 7-3 at the time I'm talking. Chaz Chambliss, one of those names that rolls right off your tongue. He played 12 games last year. Kind of one of those special teams kind of guys, though he did get a sack as well. A reserve guy who can do special teams. Jake Galday will probably play a bit of special teams. An exciting draft pick for the Minnesota Vikings, coming out of Arlington, Tennessee, not Texas, from Cincinnati is the college he went to. Jake Galday, a lot of people, really encouraged and excited about number 41 with his future in the league, and I'm one of them. Bengali Kamara, definitely an African name there. Bengali, yep, I have a Bengali at work, coming out of Liberia, but Kamara usually isn't that, my brain just stopped. Cameroon, that's what I think, but grew up in the was born in the U.S., so U.S. born, but you know how, the names passed on. Kelly Lawson, not much information on that one. Evan Pace Jr. took a step back last year because of other guys making major steps forward, which we appreciate. Eric Wilson, especially, is the guy that kind of beat him out of a job last year. Ivan Pace Jr., I don't know if he's fighting for a job right now or not, but at least in a reserve role. Was a wonderful story years ago coming out of Cincinnati. A few years ago, an undersized linebacker at only 5'10", not only making the team, but becoming a starter. It was a wonderful story. But it's been kind of a few steps back since then, unfortunately. Bo Richter's had a few moments off and on. Jacob Roberts, hard to say on that one. Josh Ross, Ron Stewart. That's kind of one of those names that rolls right off the tongue again. Dallas Turner again. The Vikings traded up to get him. excuse me, instead of him winding up with the Falcons, which most people thought was going to happen, instead of the quarterback. But Dallas Turner, again, took some major steps forward last year, and hopefully he can continue to take those steps forward this year. Because then he'll absolutely live up to the hype and become this potential star pass rusher in this league. That would be very helpful in so many ways. Dallas Turner could kind of play a linebacker or, pass rush like an edge in the league. Andrew Van Ginkel can do a whole lot of things. He can sack the quarterback. He can take to the passing lane. He can tip passes. He can intercept passes, and he can go for pick sixes if he can freaking stay healthy. Came from Wisconsin, grew up in Iowa. So a Midwestern guy his whole life. Said something along the lines of he has no plans of cutting his long hair, so God bless him there. Andrew Van Ginkel, though, if healthy, he's a wonderful piece for this Vikings going forward, and he's a key player all the time. Ardon Walker, Scobie Williams, we'll see. Scooby, pardon me. And Eric Wilson was one of the most valuable players on the team last year. I forget if I even gave it to him. He was that good. Another Cincinnati linebacker, but 10 years in the league. He was with the Vikings, went somewhere else, and then came back. And he's been wonderful. Marcus Allen, as we head into the secondary, no relation to the legendary running back years ago that was friends with a guy by the name of O.J. Simpson. many, many moons ago, both California people. In this case, this guy's from North Carolina. Devion Armstead, Tyreek Chappelle. I don't know if there's any relation to Chappelle, but we'll get off of that. Charles Demings, Khalif Hilsey, Western Kentucky. Theo Jackson, I'm a fan. He's been a valuable piece for the last few years. Appreciate him. Grew up in Tennessee and went to Tennessee. Nashville. Dwight McGlothern Jr., Josh Metellus, again, who looks like he might be the guy now versus, obviously that he already kind of was the guy, but maybe the guy in the secondary versus a guy who was the captain for many, many years. Many years, without a doubt. Number 22, Harrison Smith, of course. Yep, so no doubt about that. Obviously, we'll see. Who knows if he'll come back? Who knows if he won't? It's been awfully quiet. But Joshua Metellus, is kind of the guy in the secondary. 28 years of age. He's crucial. He's very important. And he was out there today, as was Byron Murphy Jr. Had a great year a couple of years ago. Earned a nice contract and everything. And then was disappointing last year until later in the season. We'll see how he continues going into this year. Hopefully he can have a little bounce back. And Vikings are hoping for that. James Pierre coming in at 29 years of age. Pardon me. I played with the Pittsburgh Steelers last X amount of years. People see him as a nice addition to this team. Obviously, depth. We talked about him months ago when he was brought in. Isaiah Rodgers, also very positive moments last year, particularly against Cincinnati. He had some really good moments. Wasn't spectacular all year, but was fun to keep up with during the course of the season. Jacob Thomas and Jacoby Thomas, rookies coming in. We'll see what happens, undrafted guys. And then you have Tavier Thomas. Tavier Thomas out of Detroit, Michigan, and Ferris State and all that good stuff. I do believe it was with he was with Texans, Tampa Bay, Houston. He's been all over the place. And he was with the Vikings last year. That is right. Yeah, had a couple moments, but very reserved, kind of special teams type of guy, generally speaking. A lot of these guys, again, they're probably fighting for special teams roles and such. And if you're a backup, you're going to probably end up being a special teams player and such, making those tackles and such and blocking as well. Samaya Vaughn, Jay Ward, very popular piece. A lot of people see him with the Vikings for upcoming season. 4th round pick, basically late in the 4th round back in 2023. Was a nice addition to this team, but has been kind of a special teams of reserve, but his role definitely increased last year, but did play in every game his first 2 years in the league. Jay Ward, 26 years of age, definitely a special teams fixture. Then you had Gerard Washington, another one of those, pardon me, additions in free agency and such. The undrafted free agent. Andrew DePaula got a recent, got signed recently, like extension. He's now 39. He's been here for years and years and years. Legendary long snapper, right? Andrew DePaula. We've had Colin Leffler. We've had Mike Morris. We've had this guy, that guy. So it's kind of fun to keep up with the long snappers. They last for so many years and they're fan favorites. 39 years of age now, coming out of Rutgers. Johnny Hecker, no relation to Denny. Looks like him and Brett Thorson are competing for the punter job. Strong possibility it'll be Johnny Hecker, not spelled the same as Denny Hecker. But anyhow, he's 36 years of age, had a very, very, very long career in the National Football League. A lot with the Los Angeles Chargers, a few with the Carolina Panthers, and the Tennessee Titans, who are now going to look like the Houston Oilers, which I do appreciate very much. Taking on the Houston Oilers look, I think it's very cool. They're going to keep the Titans logo. The T is okay. It's not a great logo. The name is better than the logo, but now you're getting the color scheme for the Houston Oilers. So I think that's very cool. So go them. I like that. And of course, the kicker, last but not least, the guy by the name of Will Reichert. Big Leg Bill was a wonderful draft pick a few years ago. Arguably the best draft pick throughout the career of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Arguably, well, I'd say it's probably Addison, but Addison and Will Reichert are probably right at the top for the most part, unless McCarthy does develop into something. And I don't know. McCarthy's failures last year did not help Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. And I'm not rooting. I'm just looking at Melbourne, Australia here and picking up the accent. Brett Thorson's competing for that punting job. We'll see if he gets it. Brett Thorson of Melbourne, Australia. Pardon me, but no, Will Reichert. Love him. Stay healthy, Will. You know, the only time he really struggled is when he had a bit of an injury there, kind of like a hip injury. Stay healthy, Will, because it's a wonderful kicker. Mentally strong, and I appreciate that. Yeah, he's something else. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break and look at fan interaction right after this. And we are back here on Purple Mafia. I got a few here. Looks like they're from Dave Hickey, which is great. Love hearing from Dave Hickey. Yeah, I think that's something got cut off though, because I think there was a number of other mentions, and I don't know what happened. So the Twitter account with Purple Mafia is weird, and I'm sad about it. Let's see if I can go back. Yeah, what happened? It's weird. It's like they're gone. I don't know what happened. So my apologies. So I can read the recent ones from Dave Hickey, but I know there were ones further back. But I'm almost certain there were. I don't know. I don't know if X is making some weird changes or such, and I hadn't been very active, and I apologize for that. Yep. This was upon the announcement of Kyler Murray being the starting quarterback officially. Oh, that's something else. Saying that sucks. Yeah, purple wasn't coming up. Okay. I was saying, what the hell? I was saying JJ McCarthy got more team snaps than Kyler Murray during full offensive drills against either team, scout or defense. Dave Hickey was responding with, I seen where Kyler struggled with a couple fumbles or a bot snap and an interception. Yeah, he had a fairly weak and ugly training camp, honestly, so far. I think the Vikings are going to need both quarterbacks this year. And if they're going to struggle, it's best to get it out now. I still want JJ to succeed, and I think he can be something special. I couldn't agree more with all of that. That I do think that we're going to see both quarterbacks this year, and we're going to probably need them both. And also, again, still want JJ to succeed, and I think he can be something special. I think so too. Dave Hickey, continuing again out of Iowa, says, and I also think the competition with Kyler will bring out the best in both of them because it's basically for their career opportunities going forward. Yep, and at the bare minimum, yes. I think that's it. So I swear there was a lot more. And I think there was a number more from Dave Hickey. Something weird is going on with Purple Mafia and Twitter. And it's been going on for years, and I don't know. I didn't say anything offensive to anybody here, so I'm not sure what's going on. Yep, Kyler Murray was officially named on August the 11th, so only a few days ago. So, and also, again, J.J. McCarthy wants to stay with the Vikings after losing the quarterback job. Yes, that kind of conversation is very much out there. It's so weird, though. Where did all the replies go? That is so weird. Okay, maybe there wasn't anything else. I guess there wasn't. When you look at this, it's just been kind of a quiet off season for me again, and it's my own fault for that, 1,000%. So kind of dumb on my part. Yep. So, but it was a 4-year extension for Brian O'Neill. My apologies. I think I said 3 inadvertently. It was a 4-year extension, $96 million. Yep. No comments on that one, unfortunately, but it's out there and all of that. All worst Vikings team. So the all worst Vikings team throughout the years. Let's look at this real quick, just for fun, just for conversation. Nobody had a comment, which is a bummer. Quarterback Christian Ponder, running back Alexander Madison. I don't know about that. I didn't like everything about Madison, but I don't think he was the worst running back in Vikings history. Wide receiver 1, Laquan Treadwell. Wide receiver 2, Troy Williamson. Okay, feel you there. Flex, Jerome Simpson. Yeah, he was disappointing. Tight end, Irv Smith Jr., major disappointment. Offensive tackle, Matt Khalil. Yes, my God. Ugh, for what he was supposed to be a franchise lineman. You know that? Franchise O-line, like left tackle, and he was a freaking bust. Started good, but, so did others, and then kept getting worse and worse and worse. The other offensive tackle was TJ Clemmings. Oh my God. Ugh, Turnstile Clemmings. It should be TS, Turnstile Clemmings. Offensive guard Ed Ingram. Yep, he was one of those frustrating Dakota Dozier. Oh, Garrett Bradbury was a huge disappointment on the line. Yep. Edge, Erasmus James. Yeah, massive bust. Edge, DJ Wanham. Yep, didn't do nothing. Shamar Stephan, linebacker, the inside linebacker. I do believe. Yep. LaTroy Guyan? No, I don't think he was. No, it's interior defensive line. Shamar Stephan. Yep. LaTroy Guyan? No. I like LaTroy Guyan, actually. He might not have been great, but he was a low draft pick, too. So I don't know why that one I don't agree with. No. There were much worse interior defensive linemen than him. Come on. Linebacker Aaron Henderson? Really? He wasn't great, but really? Jasper Brinkley wasn't so great. Rashad Breeland. Yep, now we get to the cornerbacks. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that was a rough one. Chris Cook. Yep, I agree with both of those guys. Ugh. Nickel, Josh Robinson. Yeah, yep, he was disappointing. Madiel Williams. He could hit people hard, but he couldn't freaking, cover. He couldn't cover jack. Safeties there. Yep, and Jamarcus Sanford was pretty lousy, too. So that's that. Rock and roll. That's your all Vikings worst team. I agree with most. Ponder, yeah, considering he was like a fairly high draft pick and what he became. Yeah, Tavares Jackson was better than Ponder. He at least had some special skills where Ponder didn't. Ponder just did not have special skills. Chris Cook was ugh. I remember even when the Vikings took him, I wasn't happy. I'm like, come on, we could do better than that. And you're just hoping he was going to at least be decent, and he was awful. God, he was annoyingly bad, annoying. Same with Rashad Breeland. Annoyingly bad. Come on. Make the freaking stop. Knock the ball away. Make the tackle. Something. Please. You stink. You absolutely stink. It was stuff like that. So, sorry. I know it's mean. LaTroy Guyan, do not agree with that. Henderson, not really either. Aaron Henderson, really? The worst linebacker? Come on. No. LaTroy Guyan is not the worst in interior defensive line either. No. He wasn't. He was a pretty good 3 technique. I kind of liked him. We've had worse. Believe me, we've had worse. And again, he was a later draft pick as well. He, first of all, making the team and then actually being a factor for an extended period of time. Is it because he signed with the Packers? Is that why you're hating on him, whoever you are? So that's kind of annoying. God, come on, man. And I know minimum 10 starts. It has to be somebody that played a role. It can't be just this guy that shouldn't have been on the team anyway and played 2 games, stuff like that. No, I don't agree with that one. But most of them, yes, extremely frustrating at the very least. So I guess that's it. The fan interaction a bit quiet, and that's kind of on me, of course. But thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave Hickey. You are a godsend to this show and a great friend as well. I really appreciate you, Dave Hickey. And hope to hear from you some more. Gerald Swing, huge shout out. God bless you. Love you to death. Same with Mark Carlson, of course. Just in case Sebastian is listening, Sebastian Barton, I miss you. It's been years. I really miss him, actually. So, yeah, and there's many others that I miss. So many others. Malcolm McSween, man, I miss you. Ugh, it's been eons. What did I do, guys? Did you hate me? Did I annoy you? Where'd you go? I miss you guys. I really do. I'm not even kidding. I'm not. Again, it could be shadow banning. Who knows? And it's not their fault. They're just whatever. who knows if stuff's even getting through. Like, it's just weird. So, again, I hope to talk to you soon. I probably should stop babbling. Hopefully we're tying up some loose ends here and hoping the best going into the season. And hopefully I'll have some good product for you this year. There are times I think I could be better. I think I could be a lot better. And I apologize for that. So, again, maybe that's why the show has kind of just been flatlining forever. So, podcasts are supposed to grow, not flatline. So, obviously, continuing shout outs to people like, Mad Martin, Dave Martin. Love you to death, coming in out of Northern Scotland. Holy cow. So just an absolute legend. You got to be on the show more and more often. With the, obviously, at least the call-ins, the text, the tweets and such. Sam Guptill, obviously, again, love you so much. Please come back. I miss you. Mark Carlson, if I didn't mention you, my God, shame on me. Huge shame on me. Mark Carlson, the absolute king, coming out of Iowa. Continuing some more, Tanae Brown, that's like you think Timberwolves with Tanae Brown. No, he's big Vikings too. Big Vikings fan. He's been a big supporter of this show. Tanae Brown coming in out of New Zealand, the land of Kiwis, as they like to say. Well, maybe they don't like it. I don't know. But I know Australians tease him about it sometimes. God, I miss Tanae. I miss you guys so much. And me being in hiatus and such hasn't helped either. It's like, get your butt on the mic, dang it. More and more often. There's always Vikings conversation. And I apologize. I deeply apologize. With that said, though, thank you again so much. Skull Vikings going into the 2026 season. Purple Mafia will be there once again.